Listen, I've got this whole high school thing psyched out. It all breaks down into cliques. Cliques? Yeah, you know, cliques. Little in-groups of different kids. All we have to do is click with the right clique, and we can finally have a social life that's worthy of us. No way. Not even with cleavage. I told you, this year we're gonna be popular. Yeah? Yeah. Even if it kills us.
Square peg, square, square, hey!
Always, never, quite.
Welcome back, my fellow agents and fellow square pegs. It is I, X7, your host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters, and your master of mirth and music. That's much better than the previous one that I recorded over. Today we are talking about the next 4 episodes of the wonderful Square Peg series from 1982 to 1983. And these are good ones. So please like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment. Watch a little longer than usual because there's lots of fun, good, topical for the time jokes. And not just from me. So if you are ready, now on with the show. All right, our first episode is Halloween 12. This is 1982, and of the now 13 that I counted Halloween movies, not all of them are in particular chronology, continuity, etc., and so ons. Only 3 had been released, and Halloween 3, The Season of the Witch, was released a week before this one, October 22nd, 1982. This episode was aired on November 1st, 1982. So only 3 Halloweens, and they're calling this one Halloween 12. So I find that very funny. Anyway, Principal Dingleman is saying that they can't have a dance because someone spent all their money on decorations. Guess who the someone was? Muffy Tepperman. They're all complaining they won't, or the girls, especially Lauren, wants to be popular for some oddball reason. And then the principal shows them slides from his time as a grade school principal. It traumatizes Johnny, totally traumatizes Johnny. So here we are in, this is, what's her name there? Miss Loomis' class there. And I don't know what she's teaching them, but Muffy's like, well, they're going to have a get-together over at Miss Loomis's house for the girls, just the girls. Vinny's going to go out vandalizing things. And LaDonna's like, he's going to be there. He just told you that. Muffy hands out assignments. I thought she was so annoying originally, and she is, the character. But I love this Jamie Gertz playing her because she's hilarious. She commits to her bit. Now we see somebody who's watching things in a mask. Dun dun dun. So Muffy has forgotten they have a disagreement. She and Miss Loomis have a disagreement on how the decoration's going to be gone. Miss Loomis says, I can give you an F. Your mom can't. So Muffy concedes. The girls show up with their new pajamas because they didn't have pajamas. Muffy has not told Miss Loomis it's a slumber party now. See those facials? She's hilarious. She is so... she doesn't have any idea what's going on, and yet she's sure she knows everything. LaDonna and whatever her name is, Jennifer, show up. And they brought their overnight stuff. And we still see somebody watching Vinny doing his vandalization of the local diner. The girls are wearing matronly outfits along with Ms. Loomis. So now they're going to do some sort of stupid exercise writing what people care about and what they don't. Vinny does a heavy breathing thing in there. That's not creepy at all these days. I don't know. The 80s were just a different time. As someone who lived and was this age, except I was a senior, it I don't know. Uh, LaDonna's upset. I really like LaDonna as well. She is awesome. The girls are more annoying. They're very naive and cute and dumb. I don't know why they need to have friends like that. I was never concerned about the posh kids. They read stuff. The lights go out. More breathing, and then the doorbell rings. And guess who it is? How's it going, eh? Okay, so Marshall Blackman thinks he's both Bob and Doug McKenzie, but geez, he's just a pale imitation. But it's funny. I mean, they were huge at this point in time in the 80s. So take off. He does say A little too much. Bob and Doug actually don't. But, for a beginner, a novice, I'll give it. And a sophomore or freshman. I don't know if he's a freshman or a sophomore. What would this? What does it say? Teenage girls. My guess at this point in time, there were no middle. I don't know if there were middle schools in California, so they could have been Froshes or Sophies. But I'm gonna go with sophomores because that's my high school experience. They're telling them it's it's girls only, but they allow him to stay. Johnny's dressed as a ghost, which apparently doesn't scare LaDonna because he's not wearing a pointy hat. Uh, they're not impressed, but they're gonna stay, and Johnny's gonna help fix the. Miss Loomis takes Johnny to go fix the fuse box, which who knows what that means. And if you know the Merrick Buttrick, that probably wouldn't have worked on him, but maybe on Johnny it would have. They do a Ouija board, and then the lights go out again. And Marshall says he wants to watch the horror of Party Beach. Wait a minute, did he say horror?
Oh, gee, what was that?
It was frightening, wasn't it?
It was horror.
Well, he did say horror, so there's more knocking, and guess who shows up? Vinny, who gets quiche shoved in his face when Marshall says real men don't eat quiche, even though it's delicious for the most part. I don't know what that was about, morons. And more breathing. Suddenly knocks. The girls go answer the door, and this guy in a weird mask shows up. It's Principal Dingleberry, who promptly yells at Vinny because he's got all the. I don't know if he's got footage. Doesn't have a cell phone, but he says you're going to be cleaning up. The girls say, "Hey, it's kind of fun to have you all here. Next time we get scared, we'll have you back." Now we have episode 6, a simple attachment. So this is your very Marshall's in love with Lauren, and she's not. They say these two are the perfect couple. Vinny's annoyed that Jennifer is flirting with senior guys. Marshall's the DJ at the school radio station, which would have been super cool to be part of. Now look, you can see back here, there's soft cell 1, 2. There's 2 here of soft cell. Billy Idol, B-52s, Laurie Anderson of all things. Now that takes some not explaining, but boy, you gotta like a performance artist to do that. I'm not exactly sure what this is supposed to be, but I can guess what's covered up there. Look, 1, 2, 3 soft cells. I'm looking for some more. There's more stuff here that I just can't recognize. But as someone who did take radio and television, I recognize it's fun. So there is Vinny's van. He has a chat with Jennifer again, and they break. So Marshall has just decided to enter the science fair with the love detector that he ordered for $1.98 out of Woman's Magazine. Plugs it onto Johnny, says something about women, and then finally says a car, and it goes off the charts. Vinny calls up Jennifer to prove that he loves her, but she loves some other guys, names 4 guys that go off. Then he says nothing. And LaDonna's sad. She hates that. And now everyone hates Marshall. Oh, But Muffy says that she'll prove it doesn't work. And who does she love? And the whole class is Muffy Tepperman. It's hilarious. Everyone hates Marshall. He hides. He has bad dreams about the villagers. I mean, students coming to get him. He wakes up. Once again, they yell at him. And she's like, "I'm going to have this out with him." He's yelling about Vinny, how he ruins it. And he's like, "We're going to make this better." Vinny knows mechanics and electric. These two should have been friends. I'd like to think that the click lines would blur if they'd have gone on to a couple more seasons. Now, if they were freshmen, they could go 4, maybe 5 until they started sprouting full beards. Although most of the kids were teenagers, but all the cast has a great chemistry. She's the one that's like the least effective, and I believe she was the oldest. So they rigged that. Oh, they're in love again. And he's like, "Well, let's do this with Lauren." So he's like, "Okay, let's talk to you." And they want to talk, and they just talk. And Johnny likes just talking. So he says, "Hey, here we go." But then he confesses, tells him what's going on. Muffy's annoyed about something because Muffy's always annoyed. And they go back at it. And these two just laugh at each other. We'll do a report or something. And now it's time for station identification. You are watching Xenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters on KXNO, part of the Xenorama Broadcasting Network. We now return you to our regularly scheduled program. All right, our next episode is Weemoe Gate, which is, of course, a scandal of some kind, because even by 1982, late 1982, attaching the word gate to a scandal of some kind had become a cliche. So even 44 years later, it's a cliche. Stop it. This is the teacher, what's his name there? Dr. Rob Lovebeads Donovan, Stephen Peterman, who is very liberal, or at least it was a hippie, even though he denies it. And he always talks about how he can't remember things, but doesn't quite say he was smoking a lot of pot. Think Dr. Johnny Fever when he's got talks like that. So they're doing a report on, the girls have to do a report on the most boring things, and the school is going to get a new mascot. Now, this does have some unfortunate imagery in it of First Nations. Bear with it, it was the 80s. And they think they're funny. LaDonna nominates Vinny to be the new school mascot because that's what they're wearing. SDSU had an Aztec as a mascot, and he didn't wear much more than that, although I think he does now. Or she does. I don't know. See, there she is nominating him. And then Marshall decides to nominate Johnny because he lies about Johnny having First Tribe's blood. Johnny's like, "No. Oh, no. Totally can't do it." And then he talks to him about, "Well, you can get your message out." So more drug references. Marshall's drawing. Somebody is putting up posters, "Be kind to dumb animals, elect Vinny." Uh-oh, Vinny, of course, all these signs, and he thinks it's Marshall. Marshall's like, "No, because why do you think they call him Slash?" Because he's got a tomahawk. Oh, it's just, he says, "I didn't do it." Vinny's like, "Well, if you did, I'm coming back and, you're toast." And they're like, "He couldn't have done it. He's a dope." "I am not a crook." Yeah, it's got to do your Nixon impersonation, which was still topical. Some 10 years later, Nixon was still alive and still a crook. So now we're going to have some, politicking. Vinny does some dumbbell curls. But look, a strange hand is adding more weight to Vinny's barbell. And he almost gets killed. Fortunately, he's got some spotters eventually. They all blame Marshall because it looks like Marshall. I just wanted to look, the Tom Tom Club, which I had just discovered recently, and I still love them, especially, their one hit song. The 80s, the wee moo tom tom. That's because Indians. They say Indian a lot here. Polaroid camera takes a picture of the shoe print. They can prove it's Marshall now. Look at how excited they are to turn on their friend. They spill something on his shoe. They take his shoe. Unfortunately, Lauren doesn't realize she's also wearing Nikes because Nike was a thing back then on their trainers. So here we're going to have everyone audition for the mascot. And fortunately, that's pretty much exactly what high school would have looked like. That is not. None of us dressed that way. Although, it is Muffy, so go figure. Jeez. There he is doing his dance. Everyone cheers. Now Vinny, and it just gets worse. She sounds like Tonto, and Tonto in the 50s was uncomfortable. Vinny yeah. All right. He does his dance. Then they see, somebody's putting a whoopee cushion on Vinny's seat. He sits down and, of course, makes the noise. More drug references. Vinny finds out someone's under there, and if you can't tell who it is by the shoes, you're stupid. So they pick it up. It's Jennifer. What a surprise. Not. At least she's wearing dark clothes. And so Vinny says, I'm not going to do it. So Johnny is now the mascot. And he's like, it's going to his head. They're treating Marshall really nicely because they suspected him without any evidence. And it's corn. It's maize. What you people call corn. Okay, that was funny. Even though his outfit is completely wrong, though he could have been a member of Adam and the Ants. I don't know what he would have played, but he could have been. Finally, open 24 hours. Speaking of Johnny being in a band, it's career day. Principal Dingleberry's talking about it. I don't even know what Muffy wants to be. She's going to get a degree and then have kids or something. But yikes, she's very attractive. Anyway, then he asks Mr. What is Johnny's real last name? It's really long. Ulatzowitz. I can understand why he went with Slash. I totally want to be a rock star. I want to. He's like, that won't happen. And we get a flashback to the Dingletones, which I got to admit is a great name for a band. Even, I don't know why they'd hate him. The band was good. Maybe it's his lyrics. He's like, it's hard work, Mr. Slash. And this is a great quote that we did repeat a lot. I'd like to say it with 2 or 3 people standing behind me making a lot of noise. So, of course, Marshall says, I'm going to represent you. And Johnny Slash band. These two have such a good chemistry. I could see them actually becoming a couple in future if they'd have had future seasons. Or at least, having a fling. They're talking about it. They have to do more sit-ups. And sign this contract in the shower. Johnny's tired. Totally. And Lauren imitates him. Very funny. Marshall imitates him. My eyes look upset, don't they? You know why? I'm upset. We used to say this a lot in this year. Do my eyes look upset? Do my eyes look happy? Yoga class. And guess who's teaching? It's Muffy. Swing and a miss. So he's got Johnny a gig playing at the open of their new deli or something or another. Everyone's loading out. Talking, Johnny, look at Penguin Stout Ale. I really want to try Penguin Stout Ale now. That doesn't seem like it would be a thing, but I think they're actually outside a grocery store, so it could be a thing. Penguins Stout Ale. I should have looked into that. I want to try some because your humble agent loves his stouts. Johnny won't sell out because he has to sing the jingle for something about wieners and pineapple. Gross. I don't know if pineapple had infested its way onto pizza yet. He's doing bunging thing. Lauren mentions the plasmatics. You know what this did to me. And it worked. Because I believe this is for the Tom Snyder show, which somehow I missed because I didn't see them until 1981. Anyway, Johnny agrees to sing it. There's Principal Dingleberry that was who Marshall Blackman was on the phone too, and he's there to see what's going on. That is actually Nick Dinsmore of the Doors, the actual door. I mean, he looks young and great. I think he might still be alive. I don't know anymore, but I mean, John Dinsmore. Nick Dinsmore was the wrestler who played Eugene, unfortunately, but he was excellent and got it over. But that's John Dinsmore, the original drummer for the Doors, and that, and we will see him in shortly again. But really, the drummer for the Doors, good on him. Johnny sings "I'm Tired." There's his backup singers. Patty has written the notes or the words, some of the words, because she's a wannabe poet and has to die at age 30. So that's a whole running gag too. Dingleberry says, "You punk rockers are really great." And of course, Johnny is new wave. It's totally different head than punk. Totally. Muffy's looking for something or another, some faux Swiss cheese. I don't even know what these two are talking about, but they're such dorks. And that is it. So if you are leaving, I hope you've enjoyed the show. Please replace your speakers, drive to the aisle in front of you, and turn right and exit. Exit stage right, to quote Snagglepuss himself. Download that. All right, my fellow agents. That was our episode for today. Tomorrow we will be. Oh, I didn't even include that. Well, it's a musical episode because it's a musical movie, and I'm hoping it's a good one. I've never seen it before, so you'll see the trailer, part of it anyway, en français, but that's all I could find. So until our next assignment. Oh wait, what was I gonna do here? Yeah. Until our next assignment, this is X7 signing off. Oh, before I do, remember you can find us on Patreon. These are free at the moment because I'm still building up that sort of thing. But eventually, I'm hoping to get some people wanting to be on Patreon with me. But until that next assignment, this is X7 signing off and phasing out. And remember, the sun never sets on those who ride into it. Be seeing you.
Hé poupée, comment appelez-vous l'exercice que vous faites?
C'est le rock'n'roll, mon joli. Et on rock ce soir.
C'est le rock'n'roll.